Hi everyone, my name is Paige Laduzinsky, the director of the Global Museum and a fellow alum of San Francisco State University. I received my master's in museum studies in 2011. I'm here to tell you about the Global Museum, a new museum on the SF State campus that opened in 2018. So I'm going to share my screen so I can show you some images of the museum and we can go on this journey together. Our exhibition gallery is located in the Fine Arts Building, and admission is always free. As our doors are currently closed at the moment, we look forward to welcoming you back as soon as we can, and we are currently working on developing virtual exhibits and digital educational materials so you can explore the Global Museum from home. Here's an image of the entrance to our building. We're located just across the ramp from the Cesar Chavez Center into the entrance of the Fine Arts Building. We can't wait to see you back when campus reopens. The Global Museum is a resource for SF State students, faculty, and staff, as well as the Greater Bay Area community. We serve as a teaching lab for the Museum Studies program. The Global Museum provides an opportunity for students to gain hands-on experience cataloging and caring for collections, leading tours and programs, developing field trips, and more. The SF State Museum Studies program offers both an undergraduate minor and a graduate master's degree in museum studies. The Global Museum is fully integrated into curriculum. In one of their courses, students might be rehousing a tray of ancient Egyptian ceramics, creating a lesson plan for 6th graders, installing vinyl on the wall, writing a membership brochure, or more. Here's just one example of a really fun time we had in one of our classes last semester. However, we're not just for museum studies students. The Global Museum also welcomes faculty visits from other departments, and we've also hosted tours, discussions, scavenger hunts, and more for departments such as art history, anthropology, race and resistance studies, environmental studies, biology, recreation, parks and tourism, and more. So we hope that all SF State students will have a chance to visit us or explore some of our virtual content for the time being during their time at SF State. We take care of a collection of several thousand objects of both archaeological and cultural material from around the world. Some of our collection highlights include the Sutro Egyptian collection, which was originally acquired by Adolf Sutro, the former mayor of San Francisco in the 1890s. His collection was originally on display at the Sutro Baths before eventually making its way to SF State in the 1960s through the Classics Department. A highlight of this collection is a rare triple-nested sarcophagus of an ancient Egyptian priest named Nesper-Nub. We also steward material from Africa, Asia, Oceania, and the Americas. Highlights include material culture from Papua New Guinea, West Africa, the Philippines. We have an incredible collection of Filipino textiles, for example, the Brazilian Amazon, which features some wonderful featherwork items, and much more. However, the museum is so much more than just the objects in the collection. We are a museum of community, culture, and connections. Our mission is to foster dialogue about our common humanity. We uphold that mission through exhibitions, public programs such as lectures and film screenings, K-12 field trips, and ethical stewardship of the university's collection. Our current exhibition, titled Climate Stories, examines the impacts of climate change on Indigenous communities across the globe and action being taken now, including on the SF State campus. Indigenous peoples are affected disproportionately by climate change due to close relationships with land, water, and natural resources. This exhibition explores the importance of TEK, or traditional ecological knowledge, and highlights not only challenges, but also community solutions to climate impacts across the globe. Divided into 4 themes, the exhibit features objects and stories from Hawaii, Alaska, Papua New Guinea, the Brazilian Amazon, Australia, and more. The first section of the exhibition, Connections to the Ocean, explores coastal and island communities and the strong ties to the waters that surround them. Some communities today are taking action and building new infrastructure, planning for relocation, and advocating for policy change through international networks. The next section of the exhibition, Relationships with Wildlife, focuses on the interconnected nature of humans and wildlife. As flooding, rising temperatures, and sea ice melt leads to increasing habitat loss, climate change has offset the important balance between humans and wildlife species. Along with wildlife, communities also rely on plants for food, medicine, and material culture. Plants and fungi can serve as powerful indicators of climate change. The Power of Plants section features cultural objects made from plant materials, in addition to plant specimens on loan from the herbarium at SF State. For example, the name of this mushroom here in the bottom right-hand corner is Lama Lama, which means to glow as if touched by the sun in the native Hawaiian language. This mushroom only grows in high elevation wet cloud forests, which are starting to disappear due to climate change. Professor Dennis Desjardins, professor of biology and director of the Harry D. Thiers Herbarium at SF State, collected these specimens and was one of our many community partners on campus for this exhibition. The fourth theme of the exhibit is adapting tradition, which looks at how Indigenous communities are using new technologies and adapting traditional life ways. For example, Indigenous groups in the Amazon rainforest now often wear headdresses, face paint, or regalia as a form of activism in addition to traditional use. In this photo, a group of Indigenous activists protest against an oil and gas auction in Rio de Janeiro. Lastly, the final section of the exhibition, Action Now, brings the impacts of climate change home to SF State and showcases research and projects from SF State students, staff, and faculty. From the arts to the sciences, many members of our community are actively engaged in climate change research. The Office of Sustainability also plays a huge role in implementing sustainable programs on campus, addressing a variety of issues from energy to transportation initiatives to food waste. How has climate change impacted your life? We invite you to join the climate conversation through this exhibition. This is just one of the many conversations we hope to have with students, with our visitors, and with you, our alumni. In addition to climate stories, we're also engaged in a variety of digital initiatives, including making our collections available to the public through DIVA, an open digital collections archive developed by Academic Technology at SF State. We also recently partnered with the Near Eastern Studies Department at Berkeley to use photogrammetry to produce 3D models of objects in the Egyptian collection, which has greatly expanded our research capabilities of these objects. Thanks for exploring climate stories and our photogrammetry initiative with me. I'll now turn it over to one of our Museum Studies graduate students to tell you more about the museum and some of the projects that she's working on. Thank you.